To the Stalato, and today we're going to be talking about the spiritual diet. Okay, so what is the spiritual diet? It's non-existent, but we're going to be talking about some diets that are popular within the spiritual New Age community, or pretty much the hipster community. It all kind of runs together, some big community sort of thing. Anyway, some popular diets. First one is vegetarianism. We're going to be talking about the downsides and the upsides of vegetarianism. I was vegetarian for 1 year before I went vegan, and then I was vegan for a year before I gave up on that because of reasons that you'll see in the video. Okay, so vegetarianism. What are its benefits? Well, its benefits are that you're going to be eating less heavy food. Okay, so you're going to be eating less heavy food like big steaks or big meals full of chicken and, big servings of meat. And little servings of meat. You're going to be stop eating meat. You're going to stop eating heavy foods like that, and that's going to make you feel like you have more energy than you would before. Now, the downside is that you're going to be getting your animal-based proteins, such as B12, a lot of amino acids, cholesterol, because we actually do need some cholesterol in our diet. And lots of other things. You're going to be getting that from somewhere else. So you have two places where you can get those animal-based proteins on a vegetarian diet. You can get it from eggs, which there are some downsides to it, or you can get it from dairy, which the downsides to that. We're not babies. We're not meant to digest lactose, and dairy is not good for our body. It'll cause hormonal imbalances. It can cause gastrointestinal problems. It can cause all sorts of problems. Okay, so there are those that don't have noticeable negative effects from dairy, such as me. When I was vegetarian, I was lactase persistent up until a certain while, and even now when I eat dairy, it's not really that serious, but it will give me zits and it will give me problems. Okay, so if you are lactase persistent and you're able to deal with dairy fine, then a vegetarian diet is probably pretty awesome, because you can get the correct nutrients and the correct proteins and everything and still be eating less heavy food. Now, the downside is that you'll have less cholesterol on a vegetarian diet, right? Because there's less meat, but you actually don't. Because if you're eating eggs to supplement a lot of that nutrition that you're going to be craving, so you're going to actually be craving eggs and dairy and things like that on a vegetarian diet, is that basically eggs are full of cholesterol. 4 eggs is 100% of your recommended daily intake for cholesterol. That's only 4 eggs. Now, that's also enough to get 100% of your B12 for 1 day. But, yeah. So, vegetarian diet is actually a pretty good diet, and you're able to eat a lot of foods that you can normally eat. Okay? Now, let's talk about the vegan diet. So, I went vegan, and for the first 4 months, I actually felt really good on a vegan diet. I had a lot of energy. I felt like I wasn't eating any more heavy food, and so I felt really light all the time. Now, the downsides of a vegan diet is that you're not going to be getting a lot of fats, okay? And so fat-based nutrients, now I say you're not going to be getting a lot of fats, but you're not going to be getting a lot of animal-based nutrients is what I mean. Because a lot of things you can only get from animal foods. Like, you can only get B12 in any real amount and any bioavailable amount from animal foods. You can't get that from plants. Okay, there's a little bit of B12 in some mushrooms. There's a little bit of B12 in foods like natto, but you're not going to be getting any noticeable amounts of B12 from plant-based foods. And so that's the downside, is that you're literally just going to not get nutrients, and you're not going to get certain things. Now, if you're taking a supplement on a vegan diet, the vegan diet can probably be pretty good, because it is good for your digestive system. It's really good for your digestive system because it increases the amount of fiber that you're eating, and it increases the amount of polyphenols and phytonutrients that you're getting. Polyphenols and phytonutrients that you're getting. But the downside of veganism is that humans bond over food. It's the most basic survival mechanism that humans have. We bond over food. That's what we bond with. When you go to a potluck, you're bonding over that potluck. When you go to Thanksgiving, you're bonding over that turkey and the stuffing and the gravy and everything. That's bonding. Food helps us bond as humans. And on a vegan diet, you can't eat most of the foods that other people are bonding over. You can only eat foods that go with the vegan diet. And another thing is that vegan diets aren't necessarily healthy. So you won't necessarily get the benefits from them unless you're following a really healthy vegan diet, which would be consisting of a lot of beans, a lot of lentils, a lot of fermented foods, a lot of plant-based proteins, and a lot of, produce, all right? A lot of plants instead of a lot of junk like bread, beer, wine, French fries, just not nutritious stuff, all right? So that's what's bad about veganism, is that you can have a healthy vegan diet as long as you supplement some certain things, but you're still not going to be able to bond over food. And so it's going to damage your emotional health, or at least it did me. And I tried my best to, integrate as much as I could to any food bonding experience that there was, but it doesn't work on a vegan diet. So the next thing is a keto diet, a diet that's high in fat and low in carbs, like really low in carbs, so that your body starts producing ketones for energy. And it actually is pretty good for the 1 month that I was on it. And I was only on it for a month. So like with veganism, I felt really good for 4 months, and then I started getting really sluggish, and I started getting really tired, okay? And I didn't have energy. And it's because I wasn't getting the proper nutrition, because I was one of those people that convinced myself that veganism was the diet that humans were meant to be on, and that I could just get all my nutrients from plants without supplementing. And I tried that, and I tried that, and I tried that, and I was eating like such a plethora of foods, and I learned so much about nutrition from being on a vegan diet, just trying to convince myself that it was a good diet, that I might even recommend it for 4 months, just because you'll learn so much about nutrition. But yeah, the problem is you'll start getting sluggish and tired and not feeling as well, and getting injured a little bit more easily, and you'll also start dropping weight, not being able to really keep weight. You'll kind of look really skinny, like I looked really skinny when I was vegan. That's the downside. Now with the keto diet, you're not going to look skinny, and you're not going to look fat. It's a good way to maintain a healthy weight, and yeah, it is more flexible than a vegan diet with what you can go out and eat with other people. Now, it still has its problems. Its problems are that you're not going to be able to eat as much as you would be able to if you weren't strict. Like, if you're not strict with a vegan diet, then you can still bond with people over food. Now, that's probably the best version of a vegan or vegetarian diet, but with a keto diet, you can't break the diet, because then you're going to have to drop out of ketosis, and you're going to be, in, not ketosis again, and then it's going to take a long time to readapt fats, and so that's the problem. You can't break it, and it really dramatically reduces the amount of options that you have for food, and the amount of options that you have for bonding with other people over food, okay? Now, another thing with the keto diet is that you're going to probably be craving carbs the whole time that you're on. I was only on a keto diet for a month, but I was craving carbs for the whole time. Not even just sugars, but just I really wanted potatoes. I really wanted, mostly just potatoes. I really wanted potatoes. But that's its main downside, is that it's going to decrease the amount that you can bond with people over food. As for how it felt pretty good. But the same way with veganism, I was only on it for a month, and so it could have a period where you feel good, and you feel good, and you feel good, and then you don't. It probably does have that period where you feel good, and then you don't. I'm starting to think that maybe all diets have that drop-off period, but yeah. Now we're going to be talking about the last diet, the diet that I'm currently on, and it's adapted for extreme physical exercise, okay? Extreme calorie burning every single day, a lot of exercise, all right? That's the high-energy diet. And what is the high-energy diet? It's where you eat a lot of calories in the form of carbohydrates. What kind of carbohydrates? Well, I'd say there's 3 different kinds of carbohydrates. There's complex carbs, such as a sweet potato or a yam. There is now a complex carb will be a starch combined with a fiber. That's a complex carb. Then there's simple carbs, such as bread or russet potatoes that don't have much fiber at all, or fruit. Fruit has a lot of fiber, but it's full of sugar, and so it kind of ends up being more like a simple carb. And then there's the last kind of carb, which is sugar, that doesn't have fiber, like an apple juice, okay, or an orange juice, or a soda. So, high energy diet is where you take mostly complex and simple carbs, like potatoes and russet potatoes and sweet potatoes and fruits, okay? And don't eat much sugar. So that's a high energy, high carb diet. And the nice thing about this is that it's not restrictive. You can still eat meat, you can still eat dairy, and you can still eat eggs. But you can use common sense with this diet. So you eat a lot of calories, but you make sure that you're getting the proper nutrition from everywhere. You eat your animal-based proteins and stuff like meat and eggs. You eat a little bit of dairy. Dairy is not good for you really in any amount, but people eat dairy and it tastes good, and so you're not going to really get rid of that. It's kind of ridiculous that people are this worked up over food. But and then you can go and do a lot of high energy exercise like Taekwondo. 3 hours of Taekwondo, you're doing 7 hours a week. That's a lot of exercise. And so this will help you have a lot more energy. And for me, it's good because it pretty much, I don't crave anything on a high energy diet. I just eat whatever I want. Just use common sense with what you're eating. Don't eat a bunch of crap every day. And I'm not saying that I always don't eat a bunch of crap every day. Like, when I was sick, I was eating pretty much a bunch of crap every day because we bought a bag of cereal and I was like, hey, you know what? That's a bag of cereal. Alright? But the deal is, with a high energy diet, you can eat a lot of energy and just use common sense. Now, last thing is, stop freaking out over food. It's just a burrito. Calm the fuck down. Okay? This is the last thing. The spiritual diet, the not spiritual diet, the heathen diet, what the fuck ever. It's like, it's just food. Calm the fuck down. Let people eat what they want to eat. And you should eat whatever makes you feel good. You should eat whatever sort of diet or whatever sort of regime makes you feel good and allows you to bond with other people as well. So that's going to sum this video up. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like, subscribe, comment, and share. Hit the bell notification icon. This is Toad. Goodbye.